Day 35, Egypt and Exodus, Exodus 13 through 14, Leviticus 10, Psalm 52. Let's begin. Exodus 13:14. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Sanctify to me every firstborn which opens the womb among the sons of Israel, as much of men as of cattle. For they are all mine. And Moses said to the people, Remember this day, on which you were taken away from Egypt and from the house of servitude. For with a strong hand the Lord has led you away from this place. Thus you shall eat no leavened bread. Today, you go forth in the month of new grain. And when the Lord has brought you into the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he swore to your fathers that he would give to you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you will celebrate this manner of sacred rites in this month. For 7 days you shall feed on unleavened bread. And on the 7th day, it will be the solemnity of the Lord. You shall consume unleavened bread for 7 days. There shall not be seen anything leavened with you, nor in all your parts. And you will explain to your son in that day, saying, This is what the Lord did for me when I was taken away from Egypt. And it will be like a sign in your hand and like a memorial before your eyes. And so may the law of the Lord be always in your mouth. For with a strong hand, the Lord led you away from the land of Egypt. You will keep this observance, at the established time, from day to day. And when the Lord has brought you into the land of the Canaanite, just as he swore to you and to your fathers, and when he will give it you, then you shall set aside for the Lord all that opens the womb and all that is first to go forth among your cattle. Whatever you will have of the male sex, you shall consecrate to the Lord. The firstborn of a donkey you will exchange for a sheep. And if you will not redeem it, you shall put it to death. But every firstborn of man among your sons, you shall redeem with a price. And when your son will question you tomorrow, saying, What is this? You will respond, With a strong hand the Lord led us away from the land of Egypt, from the house of servitude. For when Pharaoh had been hardened and was unwilling to release us, the Lord killed every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of man, even to the firstborn of beasts. For this reason, I immolate to the Lord all of the male sex that opens the womb, and all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. Therefore, it will be like a sign in your hand and like something hanging between your eyes as a remembrance, because with a strong hand the Lord has led us away from Egypt. And so, when Pharaoh had sent the people away, God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, which is nearby, considering that perhaps they might relapse, if they saw wars rise up against them, and then they might return to Egypt. But he led them around by the way of the desert, which is next to the Red Sea. And so the sons of Israel ascended, armed, out of the land of Egypt. Also, Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, because he had sworn to the sons of Israel, saying, God will visit you. Carry my bones away from here with you. And setting out from Sakis, they encamped at Etham, in the most distant parts of the wilderness. Now the Lord preceded them to show them the way, by day with a pillar of cloud, and by night with a pillar of fire, so that he might be the leader of their journey at both times. These never failed, a pillar of cloud by day, and a pillar of fire by night, in the sight of the people. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel. Let them turn back and encamp away from the region of Pi-hahiroth, which is between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal-zephon. In its sight you shall place your camp, above the sea. And Pharaoh will say about the sons of Israel, They have been confined by the land, the desert has enclosed them. And I will harden his heart, and so he will pursue you. And I will be glorified in Pharaoh, and in all his army. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And it was reported to the king of the Egyptians that the people had fled. And the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was changed about the people, and they said, What did we intend to do, so that we released Israel from serving us? Therefore, he harnessed his chariot, and he took all his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and whatever chariots were in Egypt, and also the leaders of the whole army. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the sons of Israel. But they were taken away by an exalted hand. And when the Egyptians followed the footsteps of those who preceded them, they found them in a camp above the sea. All the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and the entire army, were in Pi-hahiroth, opposite Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh had drawn near, the sons of Israel, lifting up their eyes, saw the Egyptians behind them. And they were very afraid. And they cried out to the Lord. And they said to Moses, "Perhaps there were no graves in Egypt, for which reason you took us to die in the wilderness. What is it that you intended to do, in leading us out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, 'Withdraw from us, so that we may serve the Egyptians'? For it was much better to serve them, than to die in the wilderness." And Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and see the great wonders of the Lord, which he will do today. For the Egyptians, whom you now see, will never again be seen forever. The Lord will fight on your behalf, and you will remain silent." And the Lord said to Moses, "Why cry out to me? Tell the sons of Israel to continue on. Now lift up your staff, and extend your hand over the sea and divide it, so that the sons of Israel may walk through the midst of the sea on dry ground. Then I will harden the heart of the Egyptians so as to pursue you. And I will be glorified in Pharaoh, and in all his army, and in his chariots, and in his horsemen. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord, when I will be glorified in Pharaoh, and in his chariots, as well as in his horsemen." And the angel of God, who preceded the camp of Israel, lifting himself up, went behind them. And the pillar of cloud, together with him, left the front for the rear, and stood between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a dark cloud, yet it illuminated the night, so that they could not succeed at approaching one another at any time all that night. And when Moses had extended his hand over the sea, the Lord took it away by an intense burning wind, blowing throughout the night, and he turned it into dry ground. And the water was divided. And the sons of Israel went in through the midst of the dried sea. For the water was like a wall at their right hand and at their left hand. And the Egyptians, pursuing them, went in after them, along with all of the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots and horsemen, through the midst of the sea. And now the morning watch had arrived, and behold, the Lord, looking down upon the camp of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of cloud, put to death their army. And he overturned the wheels of the chariots, and they were carried into the deep. Therefore the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from Israel. For the Lord fights on their behalf against us." And the Lord said to Moses, "Extend your hand over the sea, so that the waters may return on the Egyptians, over their chariots and horsemen." And when Moses had extended his hand opposite the sea, it was returned, at first light, to its former place. And the fleeing Egyptians met with the waters, and the Lord immersed them in the midst of the waves. And the waters were returned, and they covered the chariots and horsemen of the entire army of Pharaoh, who, in following, had entered into the sea. And not so much as one of them was left alive. But the sons of Israel continued directly through the midst of the dried sea, and the waters were to them like a wall on the right and on the left. And so the Lord freed Israel on that day from the hand of the Egyptians. And they saw the Egyptians dead on the shore of the sea, and the great hand that the Lord had exercised against them. And the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in Moses his servant. Leviticus 10. And the sons of Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, picking up their censers, placed fire in them and incense upon them, offering in the sight of the Lord a strange fire, such as was not instructed of them. And fire coming out from the Lord destroyed them, and they died in the sight of the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord has spoken, I will be sanctified in those who approach me, and I will be glorified in the sight of all the people." And upon hearing this, Aaron was silent. Then Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the paternal uncle of Aaron, and he said to them, "Go and take your brothers from the sight of the sanctuary, and carry them beyond the camp." And moving quickly, they took them as they lay, vested with linen tunics, and cast them outside, just as had been commanded them. And Moses said to Aaron, and to his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not uncover your heads, and do not rend your garments, lest perhaps you may die, and indignation may rise up over the entire assembly. Let your brothers, and all the house of Israel, bewail the burning that the Lord has kindled. But you shall not depart from the door of the tabernacle, otherwise you shall perish. For certainly the oil of holy anointing is upon you. And they did all things according to the precept of Moses. The Lord also said to Aaron, You shall not drink wine, nor anything that is able to inebriate you or your sons, when you enter into the tabernacle of the testimony, lest you die. For it is an everlasting precept in your generations. And so may you have the knowledge to discern between holy and profane, between polluted and clean. And so may you teach the sons of Israel all my ordinances, which the Lord has spoken to them by the hand of Moses. And Moses spoke to Aaron, and to his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, who were remaining, Take the sacrifice which remains from the oblation of the Lord, and eat it without leaven next to the altar, because it is the holy of holies. For you shall eat it in a holy place, which is given to you and to your sons, from the oblations of the Lord, just as has been instructed me. Likewise, the breast which is offered, and the shoulder which is separated, you shall eat in a most clean place, you and your sons, and your daughters with you. For these have been set aside for you and your children from the victims which benefit the sons of Israel. Since they have lifted up in the sight of the Lord the shoulder, and the breast, and the fat that is burned on the altar, these also belong to you and to your sons as a perpetual law, just as the Lord has instructed. Meanwhile, when Moses was searching for the he-goat, which had been offered for sin, he discovered it burned up. And being angry against Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron who were remaining, he said, Why did you not eat the sacrifice for sin in the holy place, which is the holy of holies, and which was given to you, so that you might carry the iniquity of the people, and might pray for them in the sight of the Lord? Especially since none of its blood has been brought into the holy places, and since you should have eaten it in the sanctuary, as was instructed me? Aaron responded, This day, the victim for sin has been offered, and the holocaust in the sight of the Lord. But you see what has happened to me. How could I eat it, or please the Lord in the ceremonies, having a sorrowful mind? But when Moses had heard this, he was satisfied. Psalm 52. Unto the end. For Mahalath, the thoughts of David. The fool has said in his heart, There is no God. They were corrupted, and they became abominable with iniquities. There is no one who does good. God gazed down from heaven on the sons of men, to see if there were any who were considering or seeking God. All have gone astray, together they have become useless. There is no one who does good, there is not even one. Will they never learn, all those who work iniquity, who devour my people like a meal of bread? They have not called upon God. In that place they have trembled in fear, where there was no fear. For God has scattered the bones of those who please men. They have been confounded, because God has spurned them. Who will grant from Zion the salvation of Israel? Jacob will exult, when God will convert the captivity of his people, and Israel will rejoice.